Welcome back to the channel.
Today we are in LA and we are going to go check out the Brea Tar Pits.
Yeah, so if you like this kind of content, be sure to subscribe.
Come get lost with us.
We just got to the museum and it's kind of interesting in the parking lot. It's bubbling up through the parking lot. That's tar. And there's a strong, very strong smell of tar.
So I want to preface this really quick because I've never seen anybody cover this, but just so you're aware, there is a parking lot adjacent across the street from the museum, but there's actually their own parking lot as well. So I'm assuming if that parking lot is full, you can park at the one adjacent across the street. We just didn't see the one at the museum before we saw the parking garage. So do keep that in mind, and tickets are $18 for adults.
So this is Captain G. Allen Hancock. I don't know who that is. Doesn't say on the plat.
He was the donor to the people of he was the donor of Hancock Park, which I'm assuming this must be Hancock Park, to the people of Los Angeles County back in 1916.
Well, it's not like they could do much with it. It's got tar pits on it. So they say the tar pits are throughout this park, but we got to our first one here. There's a little mammoth over there. You can see him through the fence, hopefully.
And all of that is under construction right now because I guess they're reimagining what this pit scene is going to look like from what I've heard in other videos. So we'll definitely have to come back in the future once this is reopened.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. This is like downtown area. This is right in like a downtown city area. It's not like some of those other attractions we go to. There's SAG over there, which is the parking garage we parked in. That's why it's notable. But yeah, it's just kind of like right in this cityscape. It's kind of fascinating. And then there is, you'll see over there, there is tar or oil popping up everywhere throughout this park. It's kind of interesting to see.
And there was some popping out of the parking lot like you noted earlier.
Yeah, so you can see this is all tar pit. There's the little elephant guy. We came from that area. You can see the bubbles. It was bubbling a second ago.
Him on the top surface.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just
Fascinating.
tar up there. It smells really bad, y'all.
It smells like when a road's getting paved or a roof's getting tarred.
Nice, you just said you can see it really good right there.
It looks a little gross.
Alright, here's the famous scene that most people see when they think of the Brea Tar Pits. Apparently the tar pits were started because they were actually digging for tar to use for roofs and roads. So that's how the tar pit actually started. So again, here's such a sad scene. The mammoth's just yelling because he's getting drug under. And the baby just waiting on the side. No, mommy, don't go. Came out to the front of the park just to take some pictures, but check out that neat building across the way. Craft Contemporary. Little sign too. And then here's the other end of the park. You ready to go check out the museum?
Yeah, let's go do this.
All right, heading into the museum. The George C. Page Museum. Interesting structure. I like the top. It has like carved out animals all on the top. Made it to the museum. Mammoth. Fossils. That's pretty neat.
Pretty big too.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. Let's check out the atrium. Got this atrium area. It's kind of cute. It's right inside the walls. This reminds me of Jurassic Park.
Yeah. I definitely get like, welcome to Jurassic Park vibes.
Yeah, that's kind of nice and like foresty. They have a nice big old, I think that's called a banyan tree.
You know, when they were doing the set design for it, I bet they drew inspiration from this place.
Probably. So Nancy said this is really hard to say, and it changes from being bones to being a cat.
That's crazy.
That's cool. I like that. That's really neat. That's a Pepper's ghost effect, I'm guessing.
That's definitely not something I would want to meet in the wild.
You wouldn't want to meet him?
No.
I'd pet him and call him my squishy.
You're squishy? I thought I was your squishy.
So they have a sloth exhibit right now, and this is from the sloth exhibit. It says, please touch. No. No, nice, you don't touch it. That's what the femur of this bad boy looks like. Look at him. Right? It's a Harlan ground sloth. I would think so, yeah. He's a little too big, I would think, for today's sensibilities. On camera. But apparently it has little bones in its skin, so that when it got attacked by like a saber-toothed tiger or whatever, it would be basically not comfortable to eat it. And that was its defense mechanism. But I feel like once you get bit, it's too late.
I feel like that's what catfish thought too.
So he's going to pull up on the handles to feel what's it like to be trapped in the tar.
I gotta get out. Oh, that's hard. Yeah, that's even harder.
Try to pull.
Just trying to show off his strength, y'all. And he is a lot stronger than I am, but it's not easy, right?
Oh man, no.
I could see why they would completely succumb to that.
And the one on the left's heavier weight, or the one on the right's a little smaller. So it's easier to get it out. No, thank you. Every time I see mastodon, though, I think of Power Rangers. Hate me all you want, just what I see. Yeah, this is what the museum looks like, too. What was that now?
So this is a mastodon, and they're considered shorter and stockier than the actual mammoths.
Interesting.
With their, cousin to them.
So why do you think the Power Rangers chose the mastodon over the mammoth?
That's the question for the Power Rangers.
And Zordon was a little liquored up when he made that decision. Check this fossil out. It's an antique bison.
Bisons no longer exist.
That corner has like a fossil wall. This kind of talks about how the teeth and how you can distinguish teeth. It tells you what you eat, basically. But it's kind of interesting. They found plant fragments in this this western camel jaw with plant fragments. It's an extinct type of camel.
And it indicates that there was not much grass in the vicinity of this area.
Not surprising with all that tar out there. The question we have, can we find all the Power Ranger animals while we're here? Because there's a saber-toothed tiger. Rodent gnaw marks. Look at that. The rodents were gnawing on that bone. That's fascinating. This is fascinating. So the bowfly actually nested in this bone. That means that this animal basically died on the surface, stayed on the surface, and then animals, or insects I should say, are making its home to respawn. Well, it's also depressing because you think like they sink in and die, but he just stuck on the surface and basically emaciated himself, which basically means he starved to death on top of the tar. Ugh, what a horrible way to go. And that smell, you couldn't even get away with that smell and you couldn't eat. Oh, no bueno. This skull is from a dire wolf. You can see the different teeth there. If you're a Game of Thrones fan, I believe they have dire wolves. Full shot of that saber tooth. So cool. Powerful thrust, powerful hold, flexible movement. Stab and slice. The size of this dwarf pronghorn antelope?
He's tiny.
Yeah, look at that. It's probably because they couldn't spawn so quickly, so they had to get smaller.
So they could hide better.
Yeah. Now deer and stuff are just lazy. This is cool. This is like an early picture. This isn't the plants exhibit in case you're wondering, but it's an early picture of like the tar pits. Look at that. There wasn't much around it, that's for sure. This is like a native tribe exhibit talking about how they used to coat their baskets and stuff with tar to keep it waterproof, as well as fixing some shells and things like that to use.
It's innovative.
Another one of those big mammoths. Look at that guy. He is huge. And you see the difference between Nacy and him. Wow. That is another type of mammoth is the pygmy mammoth. And it's significantly smaller than the last one was. There's Nacy. See, she's almost the same size.
It says that they lived on the islands of Santa Rosa, San Miguel, and Santa Cruz off the coast of Southern California.
So So if you ever wondered how they actually stored the meat when they would hunt a mastodon, basically they would put it in cold rivers. They would stake the meat down so that the cold river would keep it cold, and then they would come back to the stakes when they wanted the mastodon meat.
It's almost like they understood that bacteria grew on things that were warm.
Yeah. A couple more mastodon fossils. Look at the size difference on those two. Even the tinier horns on that one. So there's the jaw to that pygmy, and then there's the jaw to the Columbian mammoth. It's kind of interesting, basically rising and lowering sea levels on the islands, or different spaces, is what stopped them. So mammoths would go so far, the water level would raise, then the mammoths would stop, and then after a few thousand years, they would develop into a different type of mammoth to best suit those circumstances.
Climate change.
Macy's gonna guess about the animal poop. No, she's not. She's just gonna lift it. Feel like it's bear poop.
It's a giant ground sloth poop. It's a western camel.
I'm guessing that's gonna be deer. A rabbit. Oh, even smaller.
Little pebbles.
Little pebbles. Charles R. Knight's interpretation of the Brea Tar Pits. Here's a mural he painted. It's really neat. Look at the animals. It's like a furry something or another. And then a saber-toothed tiger. And then they have some condors up in the trees. Fascinating. The dire wolf exhibit. There's different wolves. Of course, the dire wolf was closely related to the living timber wolf.
About the direwolf, of all of the bones that they have found here at La Brea, they all showed like some serious injury to like a limb or a paw, and so basically that speaks to the social structure of what the pack would have been, and it allowed these injured wolves to survive, even though they probably couldn't hunt for themselves until their injuries healed.
They have this wall of just dire wolf skulls, and apparently, so far, they've found over 1,600 wolves in the tar pits.
And they figured they probably fed on the animals that were stuck in the asphalt. And then they would get stuck themselves.
And if they're too injured to get out, then they would be stuck there. Here's what they think a dire wolf looks like, in case you were wondering, because we've seen mostly fossils and skeletons. We haven't seen much actually like put together one. Or approximation, I guess, would be a better word to say. Here's the American lion fossil. So if you didn't know, apparently there were lions in America at one time. And the bodies could reach up to 900 pounds.
Yeah, so basically they looked at the skeletal structure of extinct lions to the current lions, and they found that they were structurally very similar, so that's how they're able to kind of judge what extinct animals versus current animals may look like.
Here is the paleontology laboratory. They're actually working on unearthing some fossils now. You can see them like cleaning them over there. That's really cool.
They're sorting microfossils.
They're doing what now?
Sorting microfossils.
Which is what, like small bones, teeth, insects, plant material. We talked a little bit earlier about these, but what are these, Nacy?
So these are the little dermal ossifiles or osteoderms that were in that sloth to act as its defense mechanism.
There she goes.
And this is also kind of what it looked like on CT as well, to show like how they would be scattered throughout the tissue.
That's fascinating.
It's pretty cool.
So it basically created like a built-in armor.
Yeah, that's what the skin looks like, and then that's what they look like pebbles.
They almost look
like aquarium pebbles.
Right. Like kidney stones or something.
What if that's what aquarium pebbles are?
I don't think that's what aquarium pebbles are. This guy is a puppet of P22, which is LA's most famous mountain lion. I don't know why he's so famous, but let us know in those comments why they had a famous mountain lion in Griffith Park. What was so famous about him? So again, here is them working. Now, what were you saying about the different fossils?
So, because this is the sloth, the summer of the sloth here, so they have found 3 different extinct species of sloth. Here, just here.
What about the size, too? You talked about the size cleaning.
So the if it's a smaller fossil too, it could take them only a few hours to fully process them, but the bigger like mammoth pieces can take them days.
That's crazy. Here's an example of like where they finished it and then where it started from with all the tar around it. That's how much work they have to do to get all that junk off of it. That's really cool. This is from the most complete Columbian mammoth skeleton they found in La Brea. There's one in the lab. If you look at the previous picture, that middle piece is part of that, but there's one of its tusks. Look at that.
Columbian mammoth skeleton they've ever found here.
Yep. If you remember that mural earlier, it was a short-faced bear is what those guys were. And here's a saber-toothed tiger attacking one.
He looks kind of interesting, right?
Another giant animal, the giant ice age bear. Look how tall he is. Wow.
Because I mean, to survive the ice age, you gotta like cold weather. So.
They have this block of bones that they found. And this basically ends the museum.
It's a cute little museum.
Yeah, pretty short though. Let's check out the gift shop. Like we talked about already, the cones actually mark new pop-ups of tar, but then they also have these big ones stanchioned off.
Tar is like all over the tree. It looks like people get tar and like write on it. I don't know where they get the tar from.
Yeah, probably just stick their hands in the holes. Look at that. There's a smell of tar here, y'all. It smells like it smells like a building being tarred. Yeah. Crazy. Yeah, and there's that excavation we talked about in the distance over there.
It's wet right there.
Yeah, see? It's coming out. Dip your hand.
See how it like seeps out?
Yeah. But even along the concrete too, like over there, there's a spot of tar. There's another spot of tar by that guy having a break over there. It's just kind of weird. They just pop up through the concrete too. All right, that's summing up our time here at the Brea Tar Pits. What'd you think, Nacy?
It was actually really cool. The museum is not super huge, maybe half hour to an hour, just depending on how long you stop and look at everything. But it's worth the visit, honestly. It's a pretty cool, interesting landmark that you probably aren't going to find anywhere else.
Yeah, some fascinating history. The fossils are really cool to look at, and they have over like 3 million different fossils here. So there's definitely a opportunity to kind of turn over those exhibits and see a lot of different fossils when you come here.
And they're still actively looking for more fossils, which is insane.
Yeah, which is why part of that tar pit's cut off, because they're actually doing excavation.
Fascinating. So if you guys like this kind of video, make sure you give it a thumbs up.
Hit that subscribe button.
And make sure you ring that notification bell so you get notified when we do at least 3 videos a week.
And we'll come and get you all for the next one.
Ain't that the truth, baby Ruth?
Bye, everyone.
Bye.